So, like, how would you give a brief introduction about yourself? Like, just to run people through, like, who are they listening to? Who are you? How would you do that?
I'm Vidushi Gaur. Basically, I have been working with this company called Pocket Aces Pictures Private Limited, which is a digital entertainment company, and I am into brand solutions and business development, specifically for their channel FilterCopy. And I also kind of act here and there in the short videos. So yeah, this is who I am. This is where I am currently. But otherwise, I am a person who was born and brought up in a small town, which is Vapi. It is in Gujarat, actually. So I did my schooling from there. Then I came to Mumbai in 2009. And yeah, since then I've been here in Bombay working and also studying at the same time. So yeah.
Okay. So, like, this was about your current, job scenario and like, what you do. But like, what has been your journey? Like, how are you as a student, and then how did it lead to, getting into Pocket Aces, working with the cool people of the internet?
Yeah. It's actually like, it's quite an interesting story because in school, I used to be a very good student till about, say, 8th or 9th standard.
Yeah.
I used to like get good marks, and I used to get, first rank, and I used to be a rank holder and stuff like that. But I don't know, in ninth, like after ninth, I think I just lost interest in studies, and I just used to like be at home and watch TV and eat junk food and just be a couch potato. And I think it was, it's your teenage hormones and your teenage years that you kind of start changing as a person. So
Yeah.
I blame it on my teenage years, actually. But whatever it was just very bad. So I didn't study at all. I started getting like very, very bad marks, and which actually affected my parents, my mom a lot, because she was a teacher in the same school.
Okay.
So everybody used to ask कि इसको क्या हो गया है, पढ़ती क्यों नहीं है, marks अच्छे क्यों नहीं आ रहे, and stuff like that. So it was like from here I went here, and my self confidence and my self esteem, like everything went for a toss. I gained a lot of weight as well. Like I used to be very like thin and you know like a normal thin kid. But
Yeah.
then I gained a lot of weight, and because obviously I was eating a lot and being on the couch all the
Yeah.
time. So yeah, I mean, my then my school years from 9th through 12th, I would say, were just pathetic. I mean, I just started getting worse and worse in my studies, and I got really, really, really bad marks in my 12th boards, which I'm not going to tell you, but they were like really, really bad.
Okay. So, is
So
it is
imagine,
it just to cut you? Is it lower than 54%?
no, not lower than
Okay.
54.
Then it's good to go.
But very bad. Like imagine a
Okay.
person who was so good in studies, and then उसके लिए pass होना भी मुश्किल था, you know.
Hmm.
So my parents are actually relieved कि 12th में कोई compartment नहीं आया,
Hmm.
because all of us were expecting कि नहीं compartment आएगा और वापस देना पड़ेगा.
Hmm.
But नहीं आया, thankfully, and we were actually happy.
Yeah.
Then I got into so फिर ना मेरी actually मैंने science लिया था 12th में, and my mom used to be like कि science मत लेना, because she's a teacher and she knows me and she knows my aptitude also. She said कि you won't like science or you won't be interested in studying science.
Hmm.
But then I was like कि क्यों, मतलब you're saying this now because I don't study well. पहले अगर मैं first आ रही होती पहले की तरह, तो you would have been okay with me taking science. So this was
Hmm.
like my ego.
Ego.
तो मैंने बोला कि नहीं, मैं तो साइंस ही लूंगी और मैं डेफिनेटली साइंस कर सकती हूँ.
Hmm.
But yeah, I didn't study at all, and बहुत बहुत गंदे मार्क्स आए. तो फिर 12th के बाद my mom was like कि अभी you just have to do what you think you're good at. So she suggested BMM, which is Bachelor's of Mass Media.
Yeah.
तो फिर वो मैंने किया, वो मुझे काफी इंटरेस्टिंग लगा. उसमें I started performing well. I was like, my name was in the merit list also, and you know, I like the subjects and everything. तो वो अच्छा होने लगा. And then I started losing weight also. So then, of course, I was back on track and everything was good. And then I did my PGDM in advertising from MET Bandra. Uske baad I got placed into Madison Mates, which is so Madison is a media agency, which is you know. Which is actually pretty well known, but it has about 26 units, and one of its units is Mates, which is into entertainment solutions. So I got into that through my campus placement. I was there for 3 years, and then uske baad I came to Pocket Aces.
Okay, so like that was like a pretty usual trajectory, like you know, ups, downs, and then finally it goes. Yeah. Got it. So, you know, in the internet business, for everyone who makes videos, for all people putting out content, there is this entire phrase which is "tu big gaya hai," and you know, how are you doing branded posts and all. And a lot of people from the audience perspective, they don't realize the expenses that go behind running, like even a small channel that you know that they're doing. So, you work with Pocket Aces. So, if you could just brief us through, like, what are the expenses? Like, if someone is saying that too big gaya hai, ठीक है? If someone is saying that too big gaya hai, and you are like, okay, हाँ मैं big गया हूँ, but अब सुन मैं क्यों big गया हूँ? And then like, what are the expenses involved? That okay, these are the reasons, these are the bills that we need to pay, and that's why sponsored posts become important. What's that?
See, first of all, I think big gaya hai. I wouldn't really accept that, you know, मैं big gaya हूँ, because at the end of the day, it's a business that we're doing, and it's a sort of a business जहाँ पे we give more value to providing entertainment to the people than making money, right? So our first and foremost, our priority is to make a piece of content that the audience likes, that the audience really wants to watch, and then उसके अंदर हम brand integrate करते हैं. तो जो already audience देखना चाह रही है, वो तो वो वैसे भी देखेगी, और फिर उसमें एक brand integration होगा जो obviously हमें भी बेनिफिट करेगा, क्योंकि हमारा बिजनेस चलेगा, हमें रेवेन्यू मिलेगा, एंड ब्रांड को भी बेनिफिट करेगा क्योंकि उनको एक अलग टाइप का एडवर्टाइजिंग प्लेटफॉर्म मिलेगा, राइट? बिकॉज कब तक लोग वही 30 सेकेंड वाला टीवी एड देखते रहेंगे, यू नो, ये जिंगल वाले टीवी एड्स देखते रहेंगे? नहीं देखते आजकल, कोई स्किप कर देते हैं, चैनल चेंज कर देते हैं, या फिर you know, they skip ads on YouTube. So how does the brand reach out to the audience? So it's basically the need that, you know, we're satisfying, be it the brand's need, be it the audience's need, or be it our need as well. Like so we have actually, you know, created a solution जो तीनों के लिए beneficial है. हम ऐसा content बनाएंगे जो audience को पसंद आएगा, जो वो वैसे भी देखेगी, और उस कंटेंट में हम ब्रांड डालेंगे जो बहुत सीमलेसली इंटीग्रेटेड होगा, लगेगा भी नहीं कि हम, you know, प्रमोट करना चाह रहे हैं या जो भी. Like it is weaved into the storyline in such a way that it becomes the part of that particular narrative. And hence I think the audience also doesn't mind watching the content with a brand integration. और कितनी सारी बार ऐसा होता है कि the audience watches that particular brand integration, and फिर वो जाके they search about that brand, they want to know more about that brand, and eventually they buy the brand. So ऐसा मैंने भी, you know, as an audience काफी सारी बार किया है. मैंने बहुत सारे YouTube videos देख के I've been like, oh, what is this brand, I need to check that out, and you know, I've gone to their site and checked out the product and stuff like that. So I think this is something that is symbiotic to each party, and at the same time बहुत seamlessly integration होता है तो ज़्यादा problem नहीं होनी चाहिए. And यार at the end of the day business तो करना है and we need like we need to run the company, so revenue is important.
Yeah.
But we kind of make sure that we do it in a way which is very very seamless और ऐसा लगे ना कि हम add कर रहे हैं किसी चीज का.
So like connecting to this part, if the audience wanted to understand in very simple language, like thoda bahut everyone understands where the money goes, like to hire the actors, to edit the videos, for the camera equipments and all. But what are the other expenses involved into running a company? Like not many people might even be knowing that rent is a heavy expense which the company has to bear. There are like legal formalities to register the company, and also all of these things, from the audience part no one knows that. So if you could just run us through these expenses like very quickly.
Yeah, actually there are a lot of expenses that come into play. सबसे पहले तो if you're setting up a company, then obviously registration and all the legal work that you have to do, and plus office space लेना and बाकी इंटरनल चीजें सेटअप करना, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, लाइक ये सारी तो बेसिक चीजें हैं जो एक कंपनी सेटअप करने में आपका पैसा स्पेंड होता है. Now that we've done that already and we've like come a long way, like I'm just talking about Pocket Aces as a company. We have now about 250 employees, right? So we've come like we started as a startup, but now it's become like a proper big company. So yahan pe I can tell you about the expenses in terms of each content piece that we make. So for example, अगर हम एक short video बना रहे हैं, जैसे filter copy short video बना रहे हैं, then उसमें काफी सारे expenses होते हैं, जैसे as you mentioned casting, which is one of the most important spends that we have to do. Then there's production equipments, and उसके अलावा manpower जो लगती है in terms of direction, in terms of assistant direction, in terms of the executive producers being on the set. And then uske alawa you have the post production, which involves editing and everything. So ye sari cheezon mein bhi more than a product, we're like a service providing company. So it's more related to the manpower and less related to a particular product expense. So अगर मुझे shortlist करना हो for a filter copy short video, I think हमारे expenses would be casting हो गया, production हो गया, post production हो गया, scripting हो गया, conceptualization हो गया, और ये सारी चीजों में काफी manpower और पैसे लगते हैं. So we need that. And the most important thing is our distribution. मतलब हमारा जो ये चैनल है फिल्टर कॉपी, वो या कोई और जैसे डाइस मीडिया हो गया, गॉबल हो गया, या we have other channels like Jambo and Nutshell जो हमने recently launch किए हैं. तो इन सब का एक पावर है, वो है डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. लाइक हमारे जो सब्सक्राइबर बेस है, which is more than say 10 million across YouTube, Facebook and IGTV. I'm talking just about filter copy. तो अगर हम कोई कंटेंट डाल रहे हैं हमारे इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे जो आपको which will help you reach out to millions and millions of people, then हम उसका भी definitely बनता है कि हम कुछ प्रीमियम चार्ज करें. Right, so that is also something that goes in the money aspect of it, because we're providing you such a huge platform, we're reaching we're making you reaching out to so many people at the in an instant. So that is something that we need like some value for it. So
makes sense. So in this there is also another part wherein from the audience there is always this confusion that what separates the difference between an ethical brand deal versus an unethical brand deal. And I've heard like many interviews, many content creators podcasts, and like some of them have their definitions as that till the time we are not promoting any smoking, alcohol related stuff, till that time we are ethical. there are some content creators who say that, okay, I will promote only the stuff which I directly use. Like maybe like there is this bottle, and this bottle company comes to me for a brand deal, and it has no harm to my audience, but still I don't use it. So some content creators say that even that goes unethical, because you don't use it, then how can you sell it to your audience? That's another category. There is a third category who says that I won't deal in like anything which gets into consumption. Like I won't deal in anything that gets into food or cosmetics, makeup, and something. Other than that, I think that all brand deals are ethical. So, like there are these different definitions floating in the market. So, according to you, like what actually is the difference? Like, how will you say that? Okay, yes, money is required to run the business, but this person crosses the line and goes unethical. How do you point that out?
Yeah. So you actually spoke about content creators and them not using the product themselves and hence not kind of advertising it completely makes sense. But here we are not like an individual content creator. So
Yeah.
यहाँ पे वो क्वेश्चन आएगा नहीं कि कौन यूज कर रहा है और कौन यूज नहीं कर रहा है, बिकॉज हम फिक्शन कंटेंट क्रिएट करते हैं जहाँ पे अगर एक हमने शॉर्ट वीडियो बनाया अबाउट अ फैमिली, तो वो फैमिली एक फिक्शनल फैमिली है.
Yeah.
लाइक कोई इन्फ्लुएंसर नहीं है जो बेसिकली बोल रहा है कि गाइस प्लीज यूज दिस प्रोडक्ट.
Yeah.
वी आर इंटीग्रेटिंग इट इन द स्टोरी.
Yeah.
तो ये वाला एस्पेक्ट तो खत्म हो जाता है कि यूज करना ना करना, इट डजंट रियली मेक अ डिफरेंस. बट फॉर अस एज पॉकेट एसेस एज अ कंपनी, yes, ethics matter a lot, and we generally, I mean, we have a policy of not associating with any fairness creams.
Okay.
Because we believe that it's kind of it promotes racism, and we're totally against that. And we've actually made a video wherein wherein we've kind of tackled racism, and we've pointed out racism, and we've spoken against it. So we have this thing of not working with any fairness cream ever. And also we try and stay away from all these pan masala brands, because again we think that they could be injurious to health. Having said that, we have associated with alcohol brands before, but that is something that is like, for us, I think since we all consume alcohol, I think it's fine. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Next, what I wanted to ask was that everyone, when we see an Instagram page like FilterCopy having millions of followers, having the blue tick verified badge, from the audience perspective, a lot of people think that, oh, brands will be running to them that, hey, please take our money and please place our brand in your videos, which is not happening. Like, I know that there are proper brand managers who execute the deals, who negotiate the money, and that's how we see one video get on our Instagram feeds. So like, what is the process behind a brand campaign getting executed, like from scratch? Like you don't know the brand does not know you. How does the process get initiated to the point that I see it on my phone screen?
Yeah, so basically it's a two-way street. There are brands who have seen our videos in the past, who have liked our content, and they reach out to us. And there are brands that we think we would want to associate with and would be a good fit for our platform, and we reach out to them.
Inbound
So
and
it totally
outbound.
doesn't. Sorry.
Inbound and outbound.
Correct. Inbound
Yeah.
and outbound. So we get both, we associate with both the inbound and outbound queries. After we meet the brand, we kind of understand what their perspective is, what their communication objective is, what their target audience is, and what they actually want to show and position themselves in the market, and what is their core requirement in terms of communication.
Yeah.
ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मिलने के बाद एक ब्रीफ फॉर्म होता है जिसमें हम ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन कोलेट करते हैं, एंड ये जो ब्रीफ होता है वी काइंड ऑफ टेक दिस बैक टू आवर क्रिएटिव टीम.
Okay.
So it could be the creative team of FilterCopy, which makes short videos. It could be the creative team of Dice Media, जहाँ पे हम web series बनाते हैं. It could be Gobble's creative team if they want something related to fashion, lifestyle, or food and travel, you know.
Yeah.
So depending upon unke objectives and unka communication, we take it to the relevant platform. We sit with the creative team, we brainstorm ki kya ideas de sakte hain, and then the creative team comes up with a few ideas jo wo chalk out karti hai. We share it with the brand, we walk them through the whole idea, and you know, we tell them ki this is how your brand will be integrated, this is how you know, the video will look. And we kind of tell them ki theek hai, ye minimum numbers hum aapko promise karenge, and all of that, and the other list of deliverables that is there. So after the brand is convinced and after the brand likes the topic, then we kind of seal the deal. And of course the commercials are also being discussed parallelly, and you know, we negotiate if needed, and we discuss the commercials, and then we lock the price and the topic, and then the deal is closed.
Yeah.
After that, so I belong to the client acquisition team.
Department. Okay.
So my role is to acquire the client, which is to get the client on board. After the deal is closed, I pass on the deal to my servicing person, who is in the client servicing department.
Okay.
So he or she then takes it over and makes sure that the video is executed properly. Now, what happens after the deal is closed? We sign the contract and everything, and then the scripting starts. So scripting is basically the detailed version of how the video is going to play out, like a proper script of the video.
Yeah.
So that is then shared by with the brand, and we take their feedback and we take their suggestions, and you know, we have a discussion, and then we lock the script, we lock the integration, how the brand will be integrated and what features will we highlight, and you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we kind of also simultaneously lock the cast. We take their suggestions as to if they have any you know, person in mind. If they have an actor in mind, we check their availability. If not, then we suggest from our end, and then we lock the celebrities and the shoot date and the timelines and everything. So all of this, the whole process takes about 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
From the day the concept gets locked till the video gets released, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks, because scripting takes time, casting, like the locking of the cast takes time, and then the video shoot happens, and post that there is editing, there is the whole packaging of the video, there's color correction, and then we send the first cut to the brand. They give their feedback, then we, you know, kind of incorporate that, and then, you know, send the second cut. So all of this takes time, and then finally the video gets released, and yeah, for the audience it's for the audience to be seen eventually.
Yeah. I had a question which was planned like towards the end of the podcast, but I think it connects well over here. And it goes like, you know, on the internet, as you mentioned, like it takes 3 to 4 weeks for a video to get released. Now, this has happened with me also a lot, wherein like if I'm talking to a guest and we have included certain relevant topics, like current topics in their podcast, the podcast, like usually for me, it gets uploaded after almost a month, almost the same time. So by that time, a lot of things actually fade out on the internet, because it's like very quick. The trend was trending a certain time, but now it's not. So how do you deal with that? Like, for example, if a brand has come to you, you ideated and all, but that was relevant for that particular week. But then after 4 weeks, I don't think that particular trend has got that much traction. So like this entire 4 week long process, doesn't it kind of hurt the brand in some way?
It's actually a good question, but can you give me an example of
like, okay,
something that you have faced?
Yeah, so I'll tell. So, for example, I can give a recent example. This Binod thing popped out of nothing, and the internet went crazy. All creators' comments got spammed. Now, I'm sure, like 4 weeks from now, this thing won't, like, right now. If even today at the time we are recording this podcast, someone comments Binod, there will be a laugh on that. But like 4 weeks from now, if someone does that, the reaction would be chalna, like this trend is dead. You can't overuse it, that kills the fun out of it. So like today, if a brand comes to you and says that, hey, we want to do something using this Binod trend, and then you are ideating and the whole process is going on, and if that goes on air like after 4 weeks, I don't think that has that sort of an effect. So how do you guys respond when something comes up like this, like something unanticipated just breaks through the internet? Are you guys like, okay, screw everything else, we are putting our teams on this, like, for the entire day?
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting question. So, the kind of content that we put out on FilterCopy, YouTube, and Facebook. So, you must have seen different kind of content pieces that we put out. So, we have your short videos, which are 4 to 5 minutes long, which goes on YouTube and Facebook and IGTV, right? And then that is something that takes 3 to 4 weeks to execute, right? And that is what the brands usually engage with or associate with, right? But apart from that, we have our Instagram page, which is also very huge. It has about 3.5 million followers. And there we put out micro content, and we put out video memes, and we put out like static memes, and we put out short, like cutting videos, like which are just 1 to 2 minute videos, right? So now if a brand wants to associate with something that is so topical, say like a Binod, then we wouldn't suggest them to do a YouTube 4 to 5 minute video. One, the video would not do well, क्योंकि 4 से 5 मिनट तक अगर वो वीडियो पूरा विनोद के बारे में है तो people will get bored and कोई वो वीडियो नहीं देखेगा. दूसरा, as you said, कि 3 से 4 हफ्ते में वो die down हो जाता है and it doesn't make sense. And the other thing is कि so we tell them कि भाई ठीक है, you do this micro content on our Instagram, which is say a video meme or a FC cutting sort of a thing, जहाँ पे the shelf life, I mean, it can be created in like 2-3 days, and the shelf life is just 1 day or 2 days, like क्योंकि बहुत चर्न आउट होते रहते हैं हमारे पोस्ट्स ऑन इंस्टाग्राम. सो अगर हमने एक पोस्ट डाला है ऑन इंस्टाग्राम जो 1 मिनट का वीडियो है, उसका शेल्फ लाइफ वुड बी हार्डली 1.5 days. उसके बाद पीपल मूव ऑन एंड पीपल स्टार्ट वाचिंग अदर मीम्स एंड स्टफ. राइट. So then we suggest कि फिर आप ऐसे कुछ करो. There's no point in doing a full-fledged YouTube video. So अगर ऐसा कुछ होता है जो बहुत ज्यादा टॉपिकल है और जो बहुत ज्यादा कम देर के लिए ट्रेंड करेगा, we put it out on our Instagram page as a micro content. Like even Ludo का, if you see, पहले बहुत craze चला था. Like when the lockdown started, people were playing Ludo and people were crazy about Ludo. And now धीरे धीरे कम होता चला जा रहा है. So we made a lot of micro content on our Instagram page and related to Ludo videos. But हमने कोई ऐसा एकदम YouTube video वो जो 4 to 5 minute वाला नहीं डाला कि लूडो प्लेयर्स करके, बिकॉज वी नो कि ये ज्यादा दिन नहीं रहेगा ट्रेंड, एंड इतना लंबा वीडियो कोई सिर्फ लूडो पे देखना नहीं चाहेगा. सो इफ यू सी हमारे जो FC वीडियोस होते हैं ना, वो बहुत जेनेरिक होते हैं, लाइक दे आर वेरी जेनेरिक सो दैट एवरीबडी कैन रिलेट टू दैट एंड इवेंचुअली शेयर इट. सो या तो वो होंगे कि 7 signs you have the best roommate, और या होंगे कि 7 signs that you are in a good relationship, या marriage versus relationship. ऐसी चीजों पे ज्यादा होते हैं जो relatable हो ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को, and फिर वो eventually वो वीडियो चले.
Yeah, makes sense. In this entire thing about making relatable content, there has been certain criticism around this, which says that, let's say there is this, okay, so I'll take a recent example. Let's say there is a chocolate company who generally puts out, who generally sponsors content around the time of Raksha Bandhan, because that's when their sales goes up. Now, what happens is, during the month of Raksha Bandhan, they are like dialing numbers to almost all content creators and kind of trying to integrate their product within their content. Now the thing is that for the chocolate company, the festival comes every year, so they have to make sales every year, and that makes sense for them. But for the content creator, like, if for like, the Raksha Bandhan is obviously for lifetime, right? But you cannot expect him to create relatable content every year, that Raksha Bandhan Bhai versus Behen, Raksha Bandhan Bhai Behen ka pyar. And if every year that video is coming, somewhere the audience feels that this is forced relatability. Like, you are like, someone can relate to a thing like once, twice, thrice, that's max. But if every year you are putting out content that, okay, relate to this, kind of the audience has criticized this thing in the recent past. So like, how to deal with that, especially when it comes to these festival type of content, when it comes to things like 31st December or something like that. How as a company, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so we actually make sure that our content every year, although it is going to be, on the lines of Bhai Behen, it's going to be on the lines of New Year's, it's going to be on the lines of Diwali. We make sure that we are targeting different communities, we are targeting different set of audiences, every time,
Yeah.
so that the saturation level doesn't come. Now, for example, on Holi, we did this video called Holi Na Milegi Dobara, which was a parody on
Of
Zindagi
Zindagi
Na
Na
Milegi
Milegi
Dobara.
Dobara. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is one video that we did, and then next year we'll do like an emotional video, jahan pe it's going to be like, family celebrating Holi together. Then next year we'll make sure that the Holi is about, say, a girl who's just got married and it's her first Holi in her sasural. So we target different communities, different, each time, so that the saturation level doesn't come, and the, um, there is diversity in content as well.
Yeah.
See, at the end of the day, there are very limited communities that you can target. You can target couples, you can target
College students.
family, you can target friends, you can target colleagues, you can target cousins. But यही videos वापस बनाने के लिए, you need to come up with new ideas, you need to come up with ideas that are not, done to death already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we make sure, our team makes sure that किसी तरह वो हर साल डिफरेंट हो, और किसी तरह उसको हर साल हम अलग कम्युनिटी को टारगेट करें, so that it doesn't get very
Repackaging.
repetitive. Also, this year on Raksha Bandhan, we decided to kind of put out a video on sisters.
Okay.
And not brother and sister.
Okay.
तो इस साल जो वीडियो बाहर आया था, it was basically about two sisters and their bond. तो जरूरी नहीं है कि रक्षाबंधन आजकल, I mean, बहन बहन को राखी बांधती है, and it's all about, protecting each other. So we did this video which was about sisters. So this is how we try and innovate every year when it comes to festivals and these topics.
Yeah, makes sense. So, when there are like these normal, what we say, mainstream career options. So, like, if tomorrow I know that if I enter into the operations hall for KPMG or Ernst and Young or Deloitte or any of these mainstream companies, we know who are the people working there. Like, there is an analyst sitting over there. There's a person who is making presentations and all. So the job titles are very well defined. When it comes to a company that works on the internet, when it comes to a content creating company, people are unsure. Like, there is always this rough idea that, okay, एक video editor होगा, एक photographer होगा, एक videographer होगा. So there are always these, like, we know of 4-5 headings, but we don't know of the rest. Like right now you mentioned that there are like almost 250 people working at Pocket Aces, right? So like, what are the job titles? Like, how do you define the proper job titles for these people?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, I had joined Pocket Aces 2.5 years back, and
Okay.
जब मैंने join किया था, तब सिर्फ 40 या 50 लोग थे कंपनी में,
Okay.
और डिपार्टमेंट्स थे, लेकिन इतना ज़्यादा well defined structure नहीं था. We directly used to report to our co-founder. एंड बिजनेस डेवलपमेंट में भी, जैसे मैंने अभी आपको बताया, क्लाइंट एक्विजिशन एंड क्लाइंट सर्विसिंग का जो डिफरेंशिएशन है, वो भी नहीं था. वी यूज्ड टू डू एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम स्क्रैच. हम शूट्स पे भी जाते थे, हम ब्रांड्स भी लाते थे, हम रिपोर्ट्स भी हम ही बनाते थे, सब हम करते थे. सो नाउ दैट द कंपनी, सो यूर राइट कि ये एक्चुअली सिर्फ कंटेंट क्रिएटिंग कंपनी के साथ ऐसा नहीं है, इट्स विद एनी स्टार्टअप कि एक प्रॉपर स्ट्रक्चर या एक प्रॉपर डिपार्टमेंट डिफाइन करना स्टार्टिंग में मुश्किल होता है. But now our company has become like, we have like 250 employees, and it is just like any other corporate company. Like we have defined departments, like even in business development, abhi we have client acquisition, we have client servicing, we have talent management, and सबका अपना अपना एक role defined है.
Yeah.
So to give you some examples कि किस टाइप के डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं, तो हमारी कंपनी में सी वी हैव द क्रिएटिव डिपार्टमेंट ऑन ईच एंड एवरी चैनल. बेसिकली वी हैव फिल्टर कॉपी का क्रिएटिव डिपार्टमेंट, जिसमें होंगे आपके राइटर्स, डायरेक्टर्स, डीओपीज, एडिटर्स एंड ये सारे लोग, ठीक है. देन यू हैव डाइस मीडिया, जिसमें उनके राइटर्स, डायरेक्टर्स वगैरह होते हैं. देन गॉबल में भी सेम, एंड जैम्बो, नटशेल, लोको, इसमें भी ऐसे. Then उसके अलावा we have departments like business development, we have finance, we have legal, we have HR. So ये सारे जो हर कंपनी में departments होते हैं, वो हमारी कंपनी में भी हैं. Yeah, so this is how the basic structure is. And then of course अभी ये बहुत ज़्यादा streamline process हो गया है. So we have our regional heads, we have our national heads, and who we kind of report to. We have our team leaders.
Yeah.
So it's become very, very streamlined, and it's become like any other corporate company.
Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, putting out 250 job titles is something which I won't even ask for. But if you could just name the job titles in influencer marketing, like, because that's a niche which interests me a lot. So, like for the I can guess that there's someone known as a relationship manager who is handling the thing with the clients. There is someone who is a brand manager who is dealing with the brand side. But I don't know much. So if you could just guide us on that path.
Actually, there's no relationship manager and no brand manager. So as I mentioned, specifically in branded content and influencer marketing, we have a brand solutions team, which is also the business development team, because at the end of the day, our job is to get business through brands, right?
Yeah.
And of course brand solutions, because we solution them, we provide them with the solutions, and then they come on board and give us the money. Right? So you can call it a brand solutions team, or you can call it a business development team. So जिसमें, as I mentioned before, you have client acquisition, जिसका बेसिक काम ये होता है कि नए क्लाइंट्स को ढूंढ के लाना, या जो हमारे पुराने क्लाइंट्स हैं जिनके साथ हमने ऑलरेडी काम किया है, उन्हें फिर से रीच आउट करना, उन्हें फिर से हमारी नई प्रॉपर्टीज के बारे में बताना, और अपडेट करते रहना कि we're doing this, we are coming up with this, so if anything interests you, we would want to collaborate with you.
Yeah.
So ये सारी चीजें, like maintaining a relationship with the brand. So ये जो आपका relationship manager वाला आप कह रहे हो, वो एक तरह से client acquisition की टीम ही करती है, because they reach out to brands and they interact with them constantly. They go and meet them, and they regularly update them about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Then as I mentioned, there's a servicing team as well. So after the deal gets closed, जो servicing team होती है, वो एक तरह से सारे ऑपरेशंस हैंडल करती है.
Okay.
तो मेक श्योर करना कि शूट ठीक से हो रहा है, मेक श्योर करना कि ब्रांड का जो इंटीग्रेशन है वो शूट के टाइम पे अच्छे से हो रहा है या नहीं, कुछ लाइन तो मिस नहीं हो रही, एंड टू मेक श्योर दैट द स्क्रिप्ट इज लॉक्ड एंड द कास्ट इज लॉक्ड एंड टाइमलाइंस क्या होनी चाहिए रिलीज की, ये सारा जो है वो सर्विसिंग टीम देखती है. तो सर्विसिंग टीम ऑल्सो इंटरैक्ट्स विद द ब्रांड, बट वो सिर्फ डील क्लोज होने के बाद पिक्चर में आते हैं, नॉट बिफोर दैट.
Yeah, makes sense.
राइट. सो रिलेशनशिप मैनेजमेंट वो भी करते हैं एक तरह से, उनका भी रोल है टू बिल्ड अ गुड रिलेशनशिप विद द ब्रांड, सो दैट नेक्स्ट टाइम द ब्रांड कम्स बैक टू मी लाइक द क्लाइंट एक्विजिशन पर्सन एंड सेज कि चलो वापस काम करना है. राइट. सो दोनों का ही काम है टू बिल्ड अ गुड रिलेशनशिप विद द ब्रांड. सो basically this is how it happens, and ये influencer marketing में भी यही है, branded content में भी यही है.
You mentioned all these departments and all these titles which are included in the business side of things. So for a normal for normal is a bad thing to use, but for a company which is mainstream, once again taking the examples of KPMG, Ernst & Young, EY. So for all these companies, they have a very well-defined recruitment process. Like if you want to enter into the job of a data analyst, so these are the XYZ degrees that you require. Then you need to get a referral and then an interview. If you are selected, then that thing goes forward. So what is this procedure for a company like FilterCopy, for a company like Pocket Aces? Because if you need someone who is handling the communication side for the brand, essentially this guy just needs to be good at networking, at communicating, and at negotiating. So these are 3 life skills which you can't just merely judge on the base that okay, he has this degree, so let's take him on board. So what's your recruitment process? Do you have that hey, if you want to enter into office, first come up with these degrees, or what is the thing that's going
on? Yeah, so actually the criteria, I'm going to just talk about my department, because I'm sure other departments are going to have other set of criterias. But for business development, for brand solutions, there are 2-3 things which are very important and which we make sure that the candidate has. One is, as you mentioned, good communication skills. One is, good knowledge about the brands in the market, and good networking. That is something that is very important, because eventually you have to reach out to the brands, right? So you need to have the contacts, you need to have the numbers, you need to know that person, to kind of be able to convert it into a deal.
Yeah.
So networking is very important, communication skills is very important, and ethics are very, very important. Like we, for Pocket Aces, it's a company, we make sure that, the person has to be like ethical and has to have some values. Like, so we, our recruiting process basically has a culture round, has a proper formal round with all the job role questions and stuff like that, and then we have a round with the founders. So the culture round is something which is very important, because we there we try to understand how self-aware that person is, how that person would be able to kind of gel with other teammates, and how good he is at teamwork, and stuff like that. So culture round is very, very important in Pocket Aces. And then of course, even in the formal rounds, wherein you actually have to talk about the job role, the candidate will not only meet the boss, or will not only meet the senior person, but we, like the potential team members of the candidate will also sit in the interview and will also ask him or her some questions that we think would be relevant. So it's not just the boss, but it's everybody who has to agree, and everybody who has to give feedback about the candidate, and then after a long process they kind of select the person.
Yeah. So, okay, now this is like a question which is in the, like I asked a couple of my friends as to what questions should I include. And this is the question which everyone had. So the last question was about the recruitment and all, which is for the business side of things. But how to become an actor at FilterCopy, which is like everyone wants to know that does FilterCopy have this sort of a Bollywood audition going on? Is that happening? Or like what's going on with the acting side of things?
Yeah. So we have every Tuesday we have auditions wherein people can come and audition, and obviously this was before lockdown.
Yeah.
After lockdown, I'm not aware कि auditions I'm sure online होते होंगे. वो मुझे creative team से और जो production team है उनसे पूछना पड़ेगा. लेकिन before lockdown every Tuesday आप आ सकते हो, or you can give auditions, and if we find that you fit a particular role, then we reach out to you, and then फिर वो process शुरू हो जाता है. Now we also have a talent management agency which is called Clout, जो हमने अभी recently start किया है.
Okay.
तो ये जो talent management है, इसमें we have a set of 42 influencers जिनको हम represent करते हैं. जैसे आयुष हो गया, जैसे बरखा हो गई, जैसे आयशा हो गई. So all of these people and others as well. So we represent them, we get brands for them. So उसी टीम में जो members हैं वो casting भी करते हैं. So you can reach out to them. You can maybe write to them on Instagram and get in touch with them, and yeah, anybody can actually get a role in FilterCopy video as long as we think that they suit the part.
Yeah, actually, I was watching this interview of Virag, I guess, and he had mentioned a point wherein he said that when it comes to companies who are dealing with content, you should not be that person who is like, okay, till I don't get a role at FilterCopy, I'm not acting at all. Like it would be way better that you put out your own acting videos, you grow your own Instagram to a level that when you go out for audition, you can showcase to them that, hey, see, I at least have like
Absolutely.
4,000 people who genuinely like
Of
me.
course.
Now putting the badge
Yeah.
of FilterCopy on my videos would increase the worth of me as well as yours. So I think that is also a good tip for anyone looking out to get acting roles in the market.
Yeah, I mean, I would actually encourage that. And we have hired a lot of people in Pocket Aces who actually had their page. I don't know if you're aware of this page called Andheri West Shit Posting.
Yeah.
It is a huge Instagram page which is
No.
run by Balram. And he had come to Pocket Aces and he had this page already, and he was doing pretty well on the page, is doing pretty well. And then of course we hired him, and then he became the meme maker of FilterCopy, and then he grew the Instagram of FilterCopy from 1 million to 3.5 million. So it is, it goes without saying that you should do something of your own. You should keep doing, you should keep creating content if you think you are good at it.
Yeah.
And it will only help you in just getting the role or getting hired by such companies, because they look for people who have this passion towards creating content and building their own page. So we look out for such people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Next, what I wanted to ask was that branded posts, like there are instances wherein nothing was wrong with the post, nothing, as such was wrong, but somewhere some person found it like, I'm offended by this or something like that. And then he goes on to do something and that matter just gets picked up. So like, how do you guys respond to that? Wherein there was a brand, wherein like you guys do a branded post, and out of nowhere, like it's nothing at fault, out of nowhere some guy gets offended and he's like, this is defamation or this is any sort, and like things go into the legal matters. Then how do you guys resolve that? Because one, I know that the brand would be putting an arm on you that, hey, you know what, we paid you to improve the reputation of a brand and this is backfiring on us. So that one pressure comes from there, one pressure comes from the legal team which is getting notices. So how do you as a team react to a thing like this?
So thankfully, till now we haven't been, given any legal notices by any of the audience members. But we do have a clause in our agreement. Like whenever we sign an agreement with the brand, we do have an indemnity clause, which basically says that if something bad happens to our content, then we'll keep the brand safe, and we'll keep the brand aside of all of these problems. So we have this clause and we sign it beforehand, although we haven't faced any such legal issues till now, and I hope that we don't
Yeah,
in
yeah,
future
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
But yeah, there are people who kind of put negative comments and who talk about we didn't like this video, and how can you make this video, and how can you show this on, say, if anyone
out
can
of
find
nowhere,
anything of
yeah,
that,
out of nowhere,
right?
that just
So
connect.
what we do is like we make sure that we interact with that person. We try to kind of explain our side of the story. So filter copy always reacts and interacts with the audience in the comment section. So we make sure that we do that. And if not, then I think everybody has a right to their own opinion, to put out their opinion, and I think it's fine. But till now कोई ऐसा legal case नहीं हुआ है,
Yeah,
thankfully.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, this point actually leads me to another thing, which is a lot of individual content creators won't have the right perspective on this thing, but you working in a company which is like a corporation built on content, which I can rightly say, you might have more things on this, that right now content creation as an industry is growing a lot. Like it's one of the fastest growing industries. People are consuming content at like a faster rate than ever. Do you think that moving forward, media law would be like a great career option, for the reason being that all these individual content creators will have to have a lawyer at standby, because for the money that they are churning in, like in the coming 5-10 years, there would be a lot of cases wherein, oh, I didn't like your piece of content, I'll sue you out, and for no reason I'll sue you out. So do you think that with IP rights being a big talk of the town, with all these copyright infringements and terms like these, uh, do you think that media law has a good scope moving ahead?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think media law, not just in digital medium and not just in content creation, but even in films, even in music videos, even in TV shows and entertainment programs that come on TV. I think there are a lot of topics of conflict, like as you mentioned, there's IP issues, there is indemnity clause, and then
Defamation.
confidentiality and stuff like that. So it is very, very important to have a legal person who knows about these clauses, who knows about the legalities, and then the work becomes easier, and then both the parties are secured. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah,
no tension, like in future you can just you can be transparent with each other, you can discuss the clauses with each other, and just start with your work. So I think, yeah, there's a lot of scope, because as you mentioned, even copyright is something which is an issue. So we do get like, filter copy gets copyright threats from, say, T series, if, we use a song by mistake of theirs.
yeah,
So we make, then of course we remove it, and we don't do it on purpose. But if we, say we have used a song, then you get a copyright strike from them. So in all of these cases, yes, a legal person is required. And and I'm sure, as you mentioned, that as the content business is growing by the day, this field is also, the requirement is also gonna grow like many folds.
yeah. The next point which I wanted to touch was that, right now when we talk about content creation companies in India, there are a very few names. Like TVF is one of them. AIB was a very popular name. Filter Copy, obviously everyone knows. And other people are, individual people playing. But now even the individual guys are trying to start companies of their own, trying to build up small scale production houses. So content, as you said, right now, like Filter Copy is also recruiting 250 people under its banner. So do you think like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it would be close to impossible for someone who is like sitting at home to blow up on the internet. What happens right now, that individual content creators, they just out of nowhere they come, and then they gain a certain following and people know them. But with the scale at which this industry is progressing, 5 years from now, the standard would be such that there would be an entry barrier, that you cannot just record from your phone and become a big star. Do you think that's happening, or the internet has that capacity to absorb everyone within itself?
See, as of now, I think there are a lot of companies, yes, and they are creating a lot of content, yes. But I still feel that, with user generating content, uh, uh, you know, uh, which is getting so popular these days thanks to TikTok. I don't think that, I think there's going to be a clear differentiation between creating content for entertainment, which is basically you leave up to guys like us. We'll create like big budgeted web series and short videos, which, which will have big stars, and, which will entertain people uh, through big budget, IPs. But I still feel that thanks to Instagram Reels, thanks to TikTok, we have like now everyone wants to be an influencer. Now everyone wants to create content and just put it out. So the such platforms are increasing, and the people are getting a chance to put out their content. So I don't think that individual content creators are going to have a problem even in future of creating their own content and putting it out there, because it's just growing. I feel uh, earlier, yes, there was TVF. Earlier, yes, there was FilterCopy. But now, if you see, TVF has grown, FilterCopy has grown, but the individual content creators, the number of individual content creators has also grown. I
Yeah,
mean, a lot,
yeah.
like they make their own YouTube videos, they make their own TikTok videos, and and they kind of cater to a separate audience, and the TVF caters to a separate audience, and a FilterCopy caters to a separate audience, right?
Yeah,
So everyone needs to find their niche and kind of stick to that, and create a loyal base of followers, and then I think there's place for everyone
yeah.
in this industry. Why not?
I remember, yeah, there was this quote which said that individual content creators do not compete with companies; they coexist with them. It's like everyone has their own
Exactly.
segment, everyone has their. So yeah,
Exactly.
that makes sense. The one of the ending questions would be that right now digital is booming. I remember there was this podcast by Rohit Raj, who manages Bhuan, and he had mentioned that there is this mall in Delhi somewhere in which Bhuvan once had an appearance, and that mall had anticipated crowd to be there, and they had put in almost the same security level for Shah Rukh Khan. For Bhuvan, they had put in almost the same. But when Bhuvan entered the mall, it entirely broke. Like the audience crossed like 6-7 times the anticipated audience, and there was a lot of ruckus over there. So that is the fame that a digital content creator is having among real audience in events like these. So we know of this fact, everyone knows of this thing, but why do we still see digital content creators somewhere chasing the Bollywood thing? That if someone from digital gets an entry into Bollywood, everyone is celebrating that, and back of the head, everyone wants to somewhere be a part of the Bollywood team. Why is that happening still?
See, I think it's just the perception. I mean, it's just the perception of Bollywood that, the image of Bollywood and the whole larger than life perception that we have of a movie star. That is something that I don't think will ever go, because even these digital creators who we're talking about, Bhuvan Bham and all these people, I'm sure they have grown up watching Shah Rukh Khan. They've grown up watching, Hrithik Roshan on the big screen and dancing on the songs, and they've seen how glamorous their lives is, right? So they kind of aspire to be like them, although they are getting a lot of attention on digital, and although they're getting a lot of love on digital platform. I think somewhere it's about the perception that we have at the back of our minds, which is, I think, very subconscious. At a subconscious level,
You have grown up
you want
watching
to
that.
be that.
You
Sorry.
have grown up watching that.
Yeah, and you want to be like that, like you want to walk the red carpet, and you want to go on the stage and take the award and give those award speeches, and you want to dance on stage, and dance in the movies and see yourself on the big screen, on the 70 screen. So I think वो सब subconsciously हमारे mind में है, और क्योंकि हम वही देख के बड़े हुए हैं, तो हमारा idea of becoming a star is, reaching at that level.
Yeah.
So, but धीरे धीरे I'm sure ये change होगा, and हो रहा है.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, also if you see the number of people who get a chance to be in movies are actually less as compared to the number of people who become famous on a digital platform.
Yeah.
So आज भी movies में enter करना थोड़ा difficult है, तो कहीं ना कहीं एक sense of achievement होता है जब even a digital star gets, like if a Mithila Palkar, who is so popular on digital, gets a Bollywood film, then we obviously feel like, wow, like she's really, done big for herself.
Yeah, Harsh
Although
Beniwal.
she was doing...
Harsh Beniwal got Student of the Year too, and everyone was getting...
Yeah,
I get that.
so yeah, even people from TV, although TV is a huge industry, and you make more money in TV than you do in films, but people from TV also want to go in films.
Yeah, that
क्योंकि
makes
वो
sense.
एक perception है हमारे दिमाग में कि movie stars, बहुत ऐसे glamorous and वो एक life जीनी है, तो वैसा.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'd end this podcast with a question which, it's my closing question for almost every guest on the podcast. And that's like, now you have been through this whole conversation. So if you could just brief someone in a minute why they need to listen to this whole 1 hour conversation, then how will you do that?
Okay, so if you're interested in watching content, if you're interested in knowing about what goes behind making that content, and what is the manpower required, and what are the efforts that go into that, so for that I would request you guys to please listen to this podcast and also watch it. And yeah, I mean, you'll get some nice insights, I'm hoping.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you for being on this podcast. And this was like one of the most informative podcasts, what I'll say. A lot of videos which even I see on the internet, those are like, okay, fine, this was knowledgeable, but this is nowhere which I can implement. Whereas this podcast was something which I genuinely feel that people can make pointers and, actually execute on this, especially the ones who are aiming to get into the content creation field.
Right.
So,
Thank you. That's really sweet of you, Maurice. Thank you so much.
Yeah.